Alright, g'day brewers, back again. Now I'll just run you through the recipe list. Here we got the Mangrove Jacks IPA. Pretty bloody good kits, these ones. I've heard a lot about them. I usually only use the Coopers, but this time I'm going to try the Mangrove Jacks and see what result we get. I'm going to use, for the fermentables, I'm going to use 1.5 kilos of the liquid malt extract. I've got a bit of the old BE2 floating around, so I'll pop 500 grams of that in to raise the ABV. Now for my grain bill, I'm going to use 100 grams of Victory. That's going to sort of impart sort of a warm biscuity taste to the brew. I've got Breeze dextrine malt, or ever known as Carapils. I'll use 200 grams of that. That is going to add head retention and body to the beer. I've got I'm going to put 200 grams of this Toffee malt in it because it is a British IPA, so I really think this Toffee backbone is going to go really nice with it. And I've got some medium crystal, and that's going to add colour, a little bit of sweetness, and I'll use 200 grams of that. Now for hops, I'm going to go more of the fruitier type of hops. Just sort of do a little bit of an experiment on this brew. I'm going to use Cascade. I'm going to use 25 grams of Cascade at a 10-minute boil. That should offer some sort of tropical fruits, a little bit of melon to the flavour. I'm going to use good old Galaxy, very, very popular hop. This is an Australian variety, and that's going to impart lovely passion fruit into the flavour. And when it comes to dry hopping on day 5, I'm going to go again 20 grams of Cascade, 20 grams of Galaxy, and I put a little bit of Columbus in as well. Now with yeast, I'm going to use 2 packets of Saf Ale US05, and I'm going to rehydrate that. All one piece, there's no seams in it, and it's just a pretty well constructed piece of kit. Okay, now sanitize it. Bit of a messy job, but nonetheless, it's always good to have like a little towel down on the floor, or 2, depending. What all you do really, just get your fermenter into your solution of Star Sand, get a nice bit in there. That should be enough. I'd say that's about a litre or so. Don't have to be too accurate. Get your lid on, nice and tight. Just put that on top while I shake it. Okay, so what you do, just grab it carefully. You don't want to drop it. Give it a really good shake. So you get the other side. Good bit of a workout. Take it to the sink. Just run a bit through the tap. First I cleaned it off with a bit of a nappy sand unscented. Seems to be the popular choice of most of the home brewers. I use the antibacterial, and I've never had a problem. That's just me personally. Okay, that's done. There, you can bring it back. Put it off. You can see it's all foamed up. There's that clean, ultra clean sanitizer smell. Pour it back in there. You can see it foams up quite a lot, but as they say, don't fear the foam, it ain't gonna hurt the brew whatsoever. Okay, second lot. Here goes the Victory. Good stir. The next 4 litres. Be pretty bloody careful when you stir it. You don't want to just let it steep there for 40 minutes, and it should be gold. Just keep stirring that you steep grain. I do about once every 10 minutes. Give it a good stir. There's a fair bit in there. So 40 minutes is up now, so you can see here, look at that bloody lovely colour. Absolutely fantastic. Now it is quite a lot of grain, so I'll probably have to do this in like 2 parts, but we'll see how we go. So basically you just pour her in. Okay, kettle's boiled, so all of this just 2 litres there, so I'll just pour a little bit over the top, like so. And you can see the colour of the water, or the grain water, coming out. And a lot of people keep this spent grain. There's a lot of people are saying that they're making excellent doggy treats out of these. There's lots of recipes online for making breads and whatnot, so it doesn't necessarily have to go in the bin. Today I'm not going to be doing anything. I'm just going to be putting it in the old bin. But here we go again. Second half in there. Yeah, it's going to take 3. That's all right, no worries. So a little bit of water. Okay, I'll just rinse off everything now. We do need to use this again for when I'm finished with the hops. So I'll just give it a good rinse in sanitizer and just leave it in there till I need it next. Okay, now we're going to put it back on the boil so we can add our hops. So I'll just carefully pour this back in. There will be some grain left over. Not much, just a little bit. There you go, perfect. So now we're just going to weigh out the hops here. I've got the Cascade. Sometimes with these airlock bags, they tend to clump together, so you give it a bit of a break up. Absolutely smells wonderful. Lovely resinous smell. I'll go 25 grams. .25 on the nose. That is perfect. So you just keep that to the side, so you know. Especially with the bigger hop schedules, it's always good to make sure you label them so you know exactly which one's which. This one's a bit clumpy. Okay, time to add the first hop. It will be the Cascade. I'm going to do it for 5 minutes and then add the Galaxy for another 5 minutes, so the Cascade's getting a total of 10-minute boil, Galaxy a total of 5. So I'll open the pot up. In she goes. Watch this, it can foam up a little bit. You hit start and away you go. You're away. I keep the lid on. Some people don't, some people do. Each to their own. This one's a bit clumpy, but it should be okay because it's going to boil. Nice and easy. 26, take out that. And exactly what I said. Watch the boil over. There you go. Got it just in the right time. Now I'll turn it down. As you can see, it boils up pretty quick, so it's best to keep a really good eye on it. Get it down to a nice simmer, and away you go. You can start adding your hop. Okay, here I like to put the pouches and the even if I'm using the coopers, probably more so with the coopers, in some hot water just to sort of soften up a bit. It makes it a lot easier when you're putting it into your fermenter, and it mixes a lot easier. Otherwise you leave a lot of that, you know, it's just a lot of the flavour left in behind the can or the bag, so I try to get out as much as possible. Okay, getting towards the end of my hop schedule, and what I want to do now, I want to transfer from the main pot into here so I can strain the hops out. I'm just going to give this a bit of a sanitize. You know, you can't be too careful really. You want to... Here we go. Last few seconds. Take it off the heat. Turn your stove off. And your fan. The smell is absolutely amazing. Okay, now I'm just going to strain it into the second pot. This is pretty important to make sure everything's very sanitized, sanitized well. So I'll just grab the sanitizer, the strainer out of the sanitizer. And now I'm just going to pour it into a secondary pot, very carefully. You don't want to splash over. All this hops, it's best to strain it out. It makes an absolute mess of your fermenter. So you can see it kind of sticks in. It's just to give it a little light stir to break it all up, get it through, and it leaves all the hop matter behind. It extracts all the wort through the strainer. The fermenter. What I didn't add into the video was that before, when it first came to the boil, I added the BE2, and then when it came to boil again, then ran my hop schedule, but all good otherwise. So now, I just very carefully pour this into the fermenter. The fermentables, the last of the fermentables, which is the liquid malt extract. Nice to make sure you got sanitized scissors in this part. Spoon still in this flattened in the fermenter. Very carefully spread it on the side and pour it extract. Okay, now I'm going to top up the fermenter to 23 litres or 5 gallons, wherever you are. These are really good, these supermarket Coles water cubes. They're like $4. They come with sweet water, which you can use for your first brew. And you can just keep reusing them, mate. It's perfect to get your water nice and cold overnight, so you can get your pitching temp really quick and not have to wait a really long time. So very carefully, we're going to make a splash. Just add the water in. Mix up. And in between uses with these, I always put a bit of star sand through them, give them a shake and just leave them until next time I need it. Pour up the star sand, fill up with water the night before brewing, put it in my fermentation fridge, get it down 5 degrees or something, and my pitching temperature get pretty much bang on. A lot of people worry about if you leave it too long to get the pitching temp, it's gonna, the wild yeast are going to start fermenting. Myself personally, I haven't come across that, but I just like to get the job done, get back to having a nice cold beer. Sit for a few more minutes.
On this part, I'm going to rehydrate my yeast. I'm going to use 2 packets. Everyone's been claiming, not everyone, well, a lot of people have been saying 2 packets is better than 1. So this brew, because I've got a lot of stuff in it, I'm going to put double the amount of yeast in, hopefully get a better attenuation, and it's going to be a better brew overall. All right, I'll show you what I got here. Here I've got just pre-boiled water that I've got close to about 20 degrees. I'm going to pitch around about 19, something like that. So it's sort of almost, I don't know, what would you say? A bit higher than lukewarm, but you've got to make sure you use boiled water first. Now you just get the pack, gently just sprinkle it in. All up water in there, I'd say there's about a cup and a half. I say if you just add dry yeast, a lot of people say add the dry, sometimes I do, I just put the dry straight on top of the wort in the fermenter and away I go. But this time for something different, I'm just going to rehydrate, see how it goes. Both ways work good, it depends. It's good now to have a sanitized fork, just to work the yeast in, just nice and slowly. Just put the lid on. Glad wrap back on top. Leave it for about 15 minutes. It should be good to go.
Okay, here we are in the garage, aka my brewery. Got a few beers going at the moment. We've got a summer APA about going, and I've just finished an English bitter. And in goes the IPA now. It's always good to keep the dates of when you put your beers down. This one's long finished, need to rub that off and start again, but I just use a bit of whiteboard texture so I can wipe it off, start again, and just so I know the original gravity and what date it went down. Okay, here we go. Oi, she's heavy. Get that back as far as possible. I'll get the thermostat into the side. I use a little bit of a bottom of a beer cooler with some tape so you can get a nice accurate read. As you can see now, it's taking off. Probably go up a little bit. See, that's not too bad. It's 19.7. It probably dropped down. I like to pitch around about 19 degrees. So that's pretty much bang on, and it's been mere minutes where it could take hours and hours if you're not using chilled water. The IPA today, a lot of guys before they put the yeast in, they take a gravity reading with it using the hydrometer. Me, I don't really do that much more. I'm going to brew it for 2 weeks, mate, so it's going to be pretty much on point by then anyhow. Okay, I'll wait probably 6 days, and then I'm going to dry hop the Cascade, Galaxy and Columbus into the fermenter and let that go for another week or so. Cold crash it and then put it straight into the keg there. And I'll keg it and it'll be carved up in a couple of days because I'll keep the PSI on the keg roughly about 40 PSI for 24 hours and then turn it down to serving pressure of 12 PSI and it'll be ready to go. So thank you very much. It was really good doing this video. It's my first one, so it's a bit shitty, but I will try to be putting more of these on as the better I get using the GoPro and editing software, and hopefully do a lot more brews in the future. So thanks a lot. Brew on. I think it's time to have a beer now for sure, and a bit of a dip in the pool. It's bloody hot up here.